Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Arian. I am photo retoucher and you can learn, make and create together with me. So today I'm going to show you how you can edit a beauty portrait step by step using my actions. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first thing first, as you can see, this portrait needs to be cleaned, and for cleaning, today we are going to use three different tools. One of them is spot healing brush tool, healing brush and patch tool. So I'm going to start with spot healing brush. I will go to window and click on the actions after you have installed them, and you go to retouching action full pack, click clean and click play. After you do that, as you can see, we have two different layers here. One of them is the clean, which is a duplicated background layer, and one of them is a black and white help layer, which helps us to see some details where we have some harsh highlight. And I will click here on clean. I will choose the spot healing brush and I will start cleaning. Before we continue to work, I have to say that I'm using Wacom Tools Pro, which is a great and tablet for retouch. If you are using a mouse already, I would highly suggest you get Wacom Tools because it's really nice for retouching. And if you want to get this raw file and follow my step-by-step process of this video tutorial, first you have to download this free raw file on my Telegram channel. Link is in the description. Also for the actions, you can find the creator bottle pack in my account of Gumroad. Link is in the description. So don't forget to get these two. Get the raw file and the actions to follow my step-by-step process of this retouching tutorial. As you can see, I'm switching between through three different tools. With J, K and L, I made them with the shortcuts, as you can see. So I will speed up this process of cleaning and see you guys in a few seconds. Now that we are done with cleaning, I'm just going to merge the clean and background. Right click and merge layers. I will delete this black and white help layer. I will go to actions again, and now it's time for some dodge and burn in inverted way. So I'm just gonna click on dodge and burn, click play, and click on dodge and burn help check layer, click play. And this is the inverted way of dodge and burning. So we are going to dodge into the brighter parts and we are going to burn in the darker parts. So I'm just gonna open the dodge and burn help check layer, double click here, and I will slide the blacks a little bit into the right so I can see where we have to dodge and burn. So I will click on dodge and I will start with a white brush, 10% opacity, 100% flow, and I will paint it here on the brighter parts. Now let me just check we have done so far, a before and after. Let me just zoom in. As you can see, some parts are like desaturated, so because of the layer of desaturate that helps us for some skin problems. And this time we are going to turn off this, and as you can see before and after what we've done so far. And if you think that this one is kind of too much, you have to lower the opacity of the entire group. So I think that I will go by 75%, and we are good. Now click on burn, and as I said before, with a white brush with 10% opacity and 100% flow, we have to paint where we have darker parts. As you can see what we've done so far with the burn. Let me just zoom in, and I think that is looking really nice. Let I'm just going to turn off the saturated layer and make the opacity of the burn like 70. Let me check a before and after. Zoom in into some parts, and we need to dodge more here under the lips. I think it's looking really nice. Now I will duplicate the background and click and hold shift keyboard, click here, and I will merge the layers into one. Delete this one and check a before and after. And I think that is looking really nice. Now I will merge the burn and the background layer into one. Now it's time for frequency separation. So I'm just going to click here on FS plus, click play. And to choose the right radius, you have to slide this into 0.1 and zoom in where we have some harsh texture and slide this into the right until the texture disappears. As you can see, with the 8 is enough. Click OK and open the group. When we click on frequency separation plus, as you can see, we have two different files. One of them is low frequency and one of them is high frequency. Low frequency is the color and the high frequency is the texture. So we are going to work in both layers. The first is the low frequency. So in the low frequency, you can choose to clean with the healing brush, or you can use mixer brush for mixing the skin tones. So I'm going to use the mixer brush. For the settings of mixer brush, for the wet, I'm going by 10%, load by 25, mix 45, flow 33, and this one by 2%. And I will start mixing the skin tones. I will put a black and white help layer on top, which helps us to see more of the highlights. Be careful that the sample all layers is not checked like this. It has to be unchecked, because it's checked, it will merge the black and white colors and it will create something really bad. Let me give an example. As you can see, it's totally black. So just go back and uncheck the sample all layers. Let me check a before and after what we have done so far with the frequency separation. As you can see, let me just zoom in, and I think that is looking really nice, especially on the forehead. Now that we are done with low frequency, it's time for the high frequency or the texture. I'm just gonna zoom in where I want to clean, and I will use clone stamp tool with 100% opacity and 100% flow. And I will just hold Alt keyboard and click for copy. And this is the right way to use clone stamp tool for cleaning in the high frequency or in the texture. Now that we are done with high frequency, let me just check a before and after. As you can see, the before and after. This is the before and after of frequency separation. And I think that I will reduce amount of the frequency separation here around the under of the eyes. I'm just gonna create a layer mask here and use a black brush and start painting over here. As you can see, let me just take it back here because it kind of looks not that good. Let me just check a before and after, and I think that is looking really nice so far. Now that we are done with frequency separation, it's time to add some dodge and burn into this portrait. So I'm just gonna go click on dodge and burn, click play, and click on dodge. Open the dodge group and delete this layer desaturator, just turn off. And with a white brush and 10% opacity, I'm just going to brush where it needs some dodge. And as you can see, we have some place where we have to dodge. And I will just zoom in here, as you can see, and use a harsher brush. And I think that I will just paint it like this to reduce the darker lines, as you can see here under the eyes, because I don't want to remove them totally because it will look really fake. So this is the main reason that I'm doing this kind of technique here. Let me just check a before and after, and yeah, I think it's looking really nice. I will do that same on the other part. Let me check a before and after, and I think it's kind of too much, but I will lower the opacity by 50%, and I will continue with a dodge into some parts that need to be brighter. Let me check a before and after, and I think that is looking really nice. This is a before and after with the entire process. Now I will use the burn. Check a before and after, and the burn is obviously way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 32%, maybe 25. Open the group of burn and uncheck the saturated layer, and I think that is looking really nice. Check a before and after of the entire process. Now that we are done with repaint separation and dodge burn, it's time for the eyes, lips, and teeth. So I'm just gonna go here on the makeup artist retouching actions, click on eyes plus all in, click play, and click on the lips and cheeks, and whiten teeth. Click here on the eye plus and zoom in into the eyes. Use a white brush of 100% opacity. Oops, sorry. Click here on the remove veins and paint it on the white of the eyes. This one is kind of for cleaning and making them a little blurry. It's for removing the veins, but you have to be careful with this brush. And as you can see, 100% opacity is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower 45. Click on the brightening and use a white brush in 100% opacity. Let me check a before and after and reduce the opacity of the brightening. Now click on the eyeball lightening and use the white brush again with 100%. And this one is looking really nice. Click on the iris contour and make some contours. Now check out before and after of the eye plus, and I think it's looking really nice. And now that we are done with the eye plus, we have to merge all these layers into one, because the makeup artist retouching accent will work only with the one single layer. So we have to click shift and hold keyboard, and like this, just duplicate the background, hold shift keyboard, click on the eye plus, and make this a group and rename Retouch. Duplicate this Retouch group and merge the group into one. Click Ctrl and A and Ctrl C or copy. Go to the file, new, and create a new window. And merge the layer 1 with the background. Merge and click on actions. Here, as you can see, the makeup artist retouching actions. We are going to click on the smoky eyes and mascara, click play, and click here on the eyeshadows. Now just put this on top and work on this one, which is the mascara, and use a white brush with 100% opacity and paint it like this. As you can as you can see, this actions is for the makeup artist. Let me just check a before and after. It makes the eyelashes kind of black, but as you can see, we have some blackness here on the skin and we have to remove that. Now check a before and after and reduce the opacity of the entire file. So I think that 32 will be great. Click here on the smoky eyes, and with a white brush and 100% opacity, I'm just going to paint it like this. Let me just check a before and after. And this one is looking nice, but for this portrait is kind of too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 25, maybe 50, and I think that is 15 is good. Now click here on the eyeshadows that says pick a color, and we are going to duplicate this 3 times, and I'm going to copy the color that is here from the makeup artist, and I will paint it to make this a little better. And I think that I will choose another color, kind of pink or red, and I think that this one is okay. Let me try, and with a white brush and 10% opacity, I'm just going to paint like this. Now zoom out and check a before and after, and I think that makeup is looking really nice, so do that in both sides. Now check a before and after again, and if you think that is way too much, you can just lower the opacity of this one. Let me check a before and after, and yeah, obviously is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 35%. Check before and after again, and it's looking good. Now click here on the second eyeshadow and copy a color, kind of gold, something like that. As you can see, it's a kind of the gold color, and I will go a little bit into yellow and orange, a light color, and I will paint with a white brush and 10% opacity, as you can see up there. Check a before and after, and don't forget that, as I said in the beginning of the makeup artist actions, don't forget to create another layer in a new window, because the actions of the eye makeup and lips will only work if we have a single layer, which is the background layer, and it's locked. Let me check a before and after of this one, and I think is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 40 maybe, and I think that is looking good. Now click here on the third eyeshadow, and I will just paint with a black brush. I will use this for the eyelashes and the eyebrows. I will make them a little darker. And now that we are done with the third pile, as you can see before and after, we made the eyelashes and eyebrows a little bit darker, and I think that this one is looking fade, so I'm just going to reduce it by 50% and check a before and after of this entire process. And mascara is way too much, so I'm just going to put this by 50 and the smoky eyes by 10%. I will duplicate the background and merge these into one, and I will click here on the lips, dodge and burn, click play, and again, as you can see, it says pick a color, so we have to pick the red color which is in the lips and start painting. This is for the dodge, so this is a dodge and burn with the color of the lips. Let me check a before and after. Now click here on the burn and choose a different color, which is kind of a dark red, and I will paint it like this. As you can see, the lips need to be filled with a red color. So I'm going to use frequency separation after we are done with some changes here. Let me check a before and after. And as you can see, the dark is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 25% and merge these two into one. Sorry, click merge. As you can see, as I said before, we have to fill the color, so I'm just going to create a shape of the lips with the pen tool. Right click and click make selection and choose 0.5 of the feather radius and duplicate this by Ctrl and J. And as you can see, we have the mouth, so we are going to delete the eyes. I'm just going to create another selection inside the mouth, make a selection and delete. So this is the shape of the lips. Now click on the frequency separation and click play. For the feather radius, I think that I will go by 5 or maybe 2 or 3, something like that. Click OK and open the group. As I said before, we have two different layers, so we're going to work first in the low frequency, which is the color. I will hold Ctrl keyboard and click on the shape of the lips and start using mixer brush, and I will fill the lips inside with the color of the lips. As you can see, I'm using mixer brush and I will just slide the colors into the shape. Let me just check a before and after. And I think that is looking really nice. But as you can see, this one is way too harsh, but we'll fix that later. Now click on the shape again and click Ctrl, Shift and I to invert the selection. Now it's time for the colors outside the lips, so I'm going to remove the red color which is around them. Now let me check a before and after, and as you can see, the lines are way too harsh, so I'm just gonna duplicate this again and go to filter, blur and choose Gaussian blur, and I will think that I will go with 5. Now make a selection black mask here to remove that and use a white brush and 100% and paint it around the lines. As you can see before and after, this is not looking very well, but I will reduce this by 45. Now check a before and after again, and I will merge these two layers into one. Now click here on the blur tool with 100% strength, and I will just make the lines a little bit more blurry because this is not what we are looking for. Let me check a before and after. And this one is looking really nice, but as I said before, we need the lines to be a little more blurry, so we're going to do that. Now check a before and after. And I think that I will reduce the opacity of the entire group. Let me just slide this into the left. Check a before and after again, and I think that is looking really nice. Now merge the frequency separation and this one into one. Check a before and after, and I think that is looking really nice. Now click here on the whiten teeth, click play. This one is for making the teeth kind of into white color. It's not that this girl has a bad mouth, but I think that I will make them a little bit brighter. Check a before and after, and I think that is okay. Now merge these two layers into one. Check a before and after of the entire process. Now click here on the sharpen, basic contrast and face contour, click play. click on the sharpen. As you can see, it's a black mask, so invert this into white, zoom in, and as you can see, the sharpness of this action is way too much, so I'm just gonna lower this by 35%. Check a before and after, it's okay. Click on the basic contrast and reduce this by 22%. Click on the face contour and check a before and after. This one is really nice for makeup artists. And slide the whites kind of into the right. Check a before and after again. Now click Shift keyboard and click here and use a move tool to drag and drop all these files into the original file. Don't forget to hold Shift keyboard. Now delete all these layers because we are going to need them. And this is a before and after that we have done with the eyes, eyebrows, and mouth. And these are the finish actions. And as you can see, a before and after. Now that we are done with retouching, we have to duplicate the background layer, right, like this. Hold Shift keyboard, click here, right click, and make a group and rename again Retouch. Oh, sorry, Retouch. Duplicate this group and right click, merge the group, and click Ctrl and A for selection, Ctrl C for copy, go to File, New, and create another window for this one and paste it here. Now merge these two layers into one. And this it's time for some color grades. So for color grading, we should have only one single layer, which is the background, because if you have, for example, like some other layers here on the previous window, the color grade will not work properly because it's made only for the one single layer. So we have to go to the color grade white skin or dark skin and use one of them. All the color grades are working fine for white skin and dark skin, so you can try all of them like one by one until you find the best color grade. The second option is to use, for example, two color grades that I'm going to do right now. I will choose two color grades and combine them. Let me just check one by one. And I think that I will use this one. I have to uncheck the group and use move tool to drag and drop, hold Shift keyboard and put it here on the original file. As you can see, now I will choose the second color grade and I think that I will go with CG4. As you can see, I will turn off this and use move tool again with a shift, holding that, and drag and drop like this. Now I will open the CGA4 and I will check them one by one until I have some great results. For example, this one is too much, so I'm just gonna make changes in all of them. Now that I'm done with the settings or the layers of CGA4, as you can see before and after, I will reduce this by 50% because I don't want that to be affected that much, and check that CG4 and uncheck all the files, all the layers, and check them one by one again. As you can see, before and after of CG4, and this is before color grade, this is after color grade. Now I will put more settings here or adjustments. So I will go to the color balance, and from the midtones I will switch to the highlights, and I will make these highlights kind of into yellow, into red, something like this. Let me just check a before and after, and I think that this one is way too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 50%. Now click again on the color balance, and this time the normal mode, blending mode from normal, I will switch to soft light and slide this into the right and this into the left. So this is kind of yellow midtones, as you can see, but obviously 100% opacity is way too much, so I'm just gonna go by 15. I think it's okay. Now click here on the color balance again and choose the shadows. So for the shadows, I'm going by something like this, kind of cyan or blue. And as you can see, this one is obviously way too much. and lower this by 10%. Now go here to the black and white, and blending mode from normal, switch to luminosity, and you can play with the red color and the yellow, something like this. As you can see, big changes here, but you have to reduce the opacity because 100% is way too much. So I'm just gonna go by 10 and hold shift keyboard. Let's just make a copy from this. Hold shift keyboard, click here and make a group and rename color grade. And as you can see, a before and after of the color grade. Let me just zoom in. Now this is before, this is after, and this is before, this is after retouch, and this is before, and this is after retouch and color grade. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Leave some comments down below. Let me know if my retouching skills are good enough, and let me know if I'm understandable or if you learned something from me or not. I appreciate every comment that you guys make in my video tutorials. And don't forget to check all the links in the description, because you can find the actions, raw files, etc., etc. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.